This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you may have missed this morning, but we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 10th of May 2022, and I am 2J.
I'm Tuam.
And I am JM. In case you missed the headlines this morning, here they are. In the Daily Nation, the undesirables. In the Standard, Kalonzo. RUTO will win big if Raila snubs me. Of course, that was timely because he was going for his interview today. In the Star, Uhuru to begin campaigns as RUTO hits Raila. And in the People Daily, Raila's options. 5-face panel.
Yep.
Right, let me kick us off. Yesterday, Alfred Mutua decamped to UDA. Of course, UDA were euphoric, and there appeared to be panic and pandemonium on the side of Azimio's supporters.
Right.
But let us assess the significance of that jump. Alfred Mutua, according to the 2017 election results, garnered 250,000 votes against Wavinya Ndeti's 210,000. But what Canvass have shown us is that in 2013 and 2017, whereas they deviated from WAIPA at the county and sub-county levels, they voted as a unit behind Kalonzo Musyoka in the presidential election.
Right.
So of the 1.6 million projected Kamba voters in the 2013 and 2017 elections, 1.4 of them, 1.4 million voted for Cord and for NASA
Right.
because of him,
Yes.
while 200,000 voted for Jubilee.
Yes.
Put differently, the 250,000 votes that Mutua got in 2017 have been cancelled out by the 200,000 the votes that RUTO is already guaranteed by virtue of the Kamba nation having voted for Jubilee in both 13 and 17.
Right.
The most Alfred Mutua has brought to William Ruto, therefore, is maybe 49,000, 50,000 votes, period. And whereas Azimio seems weak, I would like to remind you of the Tao of Paradox.
Yes.
When able, you appear unable. When comfortable, you appear to toil.
Yes.
When complete, you appear to prepare.
Yes.
Let me explain by way of a story about the ultra-Orthodox and secular modern communities of Israel.
Yeah.
The story demonstrates how you can turn a weakness into a strength.
Correct.
The ultra-Orthodox community despise the secularists. And every Sabbath somewhere in Israel, groups of the ultra-Orthodox protest in the center of Jerusalem. Now, one day a few years ago, they disagreed violently with the secularists, and it turned out violent.
Yeah.
The police were called in and had to break it off. Property was damaged, business was disrupted, and the following week, during another protest, an owner of one of the local cafes, who happened to be a secularist, a lady, decided enough was enough.
Yeah.
Klil Lifshitz rallied her staff of waitresses and marched towards the ultra-Orthodox protesters. They then proceeded to lift up their t-shirts and they took them off entirely. Then they jumped up and down, waving their shirts above their heads, exposing their bras to the protesters. All the big, fierce, violent rioters stopped dead. They covered their eyes, turned their heads, and they ran away as fast as they could. Their ultra-Orthodox religion didn't allow them to look on women who were immodestly dressed. The women carried on until all the rioters had disappeared.
Clever.
The lesson here is simple. Sometimes what you perceive as a weakness can actually become your strength.
Right.
And so back to the Azimio coalition. Their main weakness, and it is evident to all, is that they have yet to climb the mountain. 70 to 75% of Kikuyus have made up their minds and do not want to be confused by the facts. They're voting for William Ruto.
Yeah.
And then there's, this 25% who's behaving wishy-washy. And because they're neither hot nor cold, because they're lukewarm, why not spit them out, as the Bible said, in the holy book of Revelation? How do you do this? The narrative is simple. 40 verses 2. The question that will be begged is, how is it that two communities have ruled this country since independence? That weakness that Azimio doesn't have Kikuyus in the bag will instantly become a strength that fires up the base of the remaining 40 communities.
Yes.
The 40 communities that have never had a chance at the presidency of this country.
Oh yes, that is so true. And so yesterday, GK asked country to consider which candidate will pick a running mate that is actually good for country. And I don't think we will know the answer to this question anytime soon, but we must apply our minds to it now. The role of the DP is not only to be assistant to the president, but the big picture must consider that this person who becomes deputy president is automatically the presumptive president. Repeating what GK told us, if you play the long game, this person becomes the president in waiting. Kenya's future is being crafted with a decision being made today. But a president in waiting is also known as a pretender to the throne.
Correct.
And this pretender to the throne is someone who claims to be the rightful ruler of a country, even though they are not yet recognized.
Correct.
But there are two sides to this story. On one hand, the pretender in waiting has a legitimate claim.
Correct.
Like a deputy president, they are second in line to succeed the president in the event of a tragedy.
Kabisa.
This is succession politics at its best. But on the other hand, not every claim has merit. Sometimes a pretender to the throne is just that.
Yes.
A pretender.
Yes.
So the question is, what happens when a pretender to the throne will not take no for an answer? This is the story of William the Conqueror, also known as William the Bastard. No relation.
Yes.
In 1066,
Yeah.
King Edward of England died childless and with no apparent heir to his throne. Now, this King Edward had supposedly left the kingdom to a nobleman named Harold on his deathbed. And this was accepted by the Council of Elders, and Harold was crowned king. However, a young man by the name of William disputed this claim, demanding that the throne was actually his. So this William the Bastard claimed that Edward had promised him the English throne 10 years prior during a private visit. Problem is, this was not a legal argument. It wasn't even a logical argument. The only thing that mattered in English law was that, and this determined that Harold was king,
Yes.
not William.
Yes.
And so, angered by this, William's response was to invade England and take the country to war. His argument was that King Edward had promised him the throne, and therefore it was rightfully his to take at all costs. Now, the point of this example is simple. We can no longer afford to take the running mate question lightly.
Yes.
Uhuru Kenyatta's presidency has exposed the limitations of the deputy president's office. No one wants to select a running mate who may grow to become a nuisance as William Ruto has become.
Yes.
Simple.
Yes.
But maybe the point is a larger one,
Yeah.
that the importance of succession politics cannot be avoided. We have submitted that a succession election attracts just two things: assassinations and constitutional crises. But for how long will this be a permanent fixture of our politics? The next president we choose must be thinking beyond Vision 2030. They must have Vision 2063 in their sight. And this requires a kind of leadership that considers succession as the part of the future of this country.
Very good. Today I will shoot straight. It is time other communities stopped the Kikuyu Kalenjin hegemony. It is unacceptable that for 60 years Kenya has been ruled by two communities. Out of a country of 45 tribes, only two have ruled us. It is utter selfishness for two communities to hog the leadership of this country for more than half a century. And by the way, when I speak of leadership, it is not just the presidency. It is a civil service. It is the composition of government as we know it. By virtue of being in power, Kikuyu and Kalenjin communities currently control over 80,000 jobs in government today. That's 40% of all government jobs occupied by two communities. And let's be honest, when each regime takes power, they favor their own. I'll give you an example. In 1978, when Arap Moi took power, there were only 600 Kalenjins living in Nairobi. By the time he was leaving office, there were over 20,000 Kalenjins in the civil service. Enter Kibaki. When Kibaki took power in 2002, he got rid of the Kalenjins and Kikuyunized his regime, just like Moi did. These are not my words, but those of Deputy President William Ruto. In fact, in February 2014 at the ICC, William Ruto, through his lawyer David Hooper, said Kibaki fired over 100 Kalenjin civil servants and replaced them with Kikuyus. It is on record. Kikuyus now control over a fifth of government. Central Kenya today boasts of Kenya's best healthcare facilities. Kiambu today has the wealthiest population per county in Kenya.
Wow.
Central Kenya today has some of the best road network, best roads in Kenya, including the longest dual carriageway. And it's simply because of state patronage, period. What's our point here? We hypothesize if William Ruto becomes president, he will favor Kalenjins over any other community.
Yes.
In any case, all his cabinet minister appointees in 2013 were all Kalenjin, and that's a fact. He will rule Kenya for more than the stipulated 10-year term. He will change the constitution and nobody will do nothing about it. Simply put, you Kambas, Luyas, Luos, Maasais and Kisis, Somalis will never get an opportunity to lead Kenya. And that is why 2022 is your only chance to claim your birthright. You Luyas, you Luos, you Kambas, Maasais and Somalis, you must not be blind to opportunity. You are not children of lesser mothers.
Absolutely.
Raila is your only get out of jail card. You must grab it and run.
Oh, yes.
This is the moment. This is the moment. Now we have a 3-part criteria that we use to assess the headlines: topical, speculative, repetitive, groundbreaking, thoughtful, or just plain lazy. I'm not particularly enthused about any of the headlines.
Absolutely.
I would agree. However, the only one that caught my eye was the star. Uhuru to begin campaigns as Ruto hits Raila.
Yeah.
I don't think Ruto knows what's in store for him once Uhuru turns on,
Yes.
that engine.
Activate it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Kiboko.
I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
However, I don't think it's exciting enough to winning headline.
Yeah, absolutely. So we didn't have a winning headline today. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also on your TV screens. Find us on Pang Free to Air, Go TV, and Star Times. You'll find me on TikTok at Maina Waka Gema.
I'm always as I will be found on this table.
Alrighty.
On Twitter at Kandabongo and TikTok. No, actually, on Twitter at Kmaina, TikTok Kandabongo.
Alrighty. Have a good evening.
God bless.